Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time here, please hit the subscribe button, the bell for notifications. I wanted to do this quick little intro because I did the interview with Geoff about a week or so ago, 10 days ago maybe. And I specifically didn't talk to him about Divi because there was so much to go over. And he's not the CEO of Divi anymore, stepped down. He's on the board. But Nick Saponaro is the CEO, so I was going to have him on and do a interview just about Divi because of all the stuff that they're doing. But this interview was so huge because we are going over the Lightning Works NFT, really revolutionary comics. And then I've been really excited about Siege Worlds since he told me about it like a year and a half ago, which it's out now. So I broke the interview up into two different parts. This is the second part. I tried to steer the interview to pretty much everything about the comics and the NFTs in the first part, and then the second part is about the MMO. It is out now. I think it's in like beta alpha, whatever. It's there'll be a link below. I downloaded it, and it is really really cool. It's very fun, but it's just so different than any other crypto NFT or blockchain game I've played. It's just like a regular computer game MMO. It's very, really, really cool. Which you can see that first interview right here where I'm kind of putting the mouse on. It was 12 days ago. And now Siege Worlds, this really doesn't do it justice. You start out in a nice field area. And then you can walk over to like a portal, looks kind of like a Stargate. And then there's like a booths, like for marketplace booths to the side where I'm sure you can buy and sell your stuff. But once you go through the party, you land on this beach, and then the monsters come out of the just a word of warning, they come out of the water. So if you go down to where I went, like the dock, and you have your back to the water, they're going to come out of the water and kill you. I was looking towards the land to see them coming at me, and they come out of the water. The picture's really dim here, but it's very cool. This intro's going way too long. Please subscribe. Put out a lot of content. Crush the like button. Make sure you comment below because I give away crypto on the crypto lunch break and other times. I just use a random comment picker that goes through all the videos since the last giveaway, and that's how you can win. So, and subscribe. Hope you all enjoy this second part of the interview with Geoff, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I'd like to pivot, and I'll probably do two shows on this, and talk about Siege Worlds, the game, because it's a whole. We've talked about the comic, a lot, and it's very very cool. They are linked together, but the game itself. I thought you had so many amazing ideas, and this is before GameFi. This is 2 years ago. It's before the explosion of GameFi.
Yeah, we would have had the first ever play to earn game a long time ago,
and it would have been way better than a lot of the crap that is out there. There's so many games that came out, and it was like when Divi came out, and the Masternode space was like, here's a project. What is it? What do you do? We're Masternode. You get rewards. Well, what do you do? Well, we're a Masternode. You get rewards. Divi came out, and it was like a shining star in the night, compared to everything else. And I think if Siege Worlds would have come out, it would have been like that for GameFi. Yeah. There's so many games that were just boring and terrible, but you could earn money. And if you're in a third world country and you're able to make $200 a month or $300 a month, not working in a field or selling stuff to tourists, that's a huge thing.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of these things are based on Ponzi-nomics, and people laugh about Ponzi schemes and Ponzi-nomics, but Ponzi-nomics is a real thing. Ponzi-nomics, the way it works is that you give away something for free. It absolutely relies on new people coming in. But at some point, you hit a threshold where you have enough people, it becomes real. You escape the Ponzi. It's like it's like trying to hit critical mass, trying to escape gravity from a planet. If you can get to enough velocity, you can escape gravity and go into orbit. And that's
Mhm.
what Ponzinomics is. I mean, in my opinion, it's a legitimate method. In fact, it has to be legitimate because every cryptocurrency does it, right? None of these cryptocurrencies have real use cases. They all start out as something that relies on more people coming in. I mean, Bitcoin was a Ponzi scheme
Yeah,
to
when what's
many,
his name said,
from some
it's
points of view,
Beanie
right?
Babies, it was everybody was so mad. But then I thought about it. I'm like, it's not far off, man.
Yeah.
it's
So once you, the way this Ponzinomics works is that once you get enough people, then you have a network effect, and now you've got real value. You've got something real, and if you keep growing, then you become a brand. And once you've got brand, now you have and then you have money. So now you can create a use case. You can keep going, and so you have something like Shiba that has no use case, and it
right.
just came out of nowhere. And you would think, if not for the principles of Ponzinomics that I'm describing right now, Shiba should go to back down to zero. Everybody should sell it. It'll go away, but it's not. Why isn't it going down? It's because of the network effect, and it's because of when it gets big enough, it becomes a brand. And Shiba has the second largest number of watch lists on CoinMarketCap. Only Bitcoin has more. So now you've got a brand, you've got a network effect, and now it's real. It started out as a figment of someone's fantasy that it might ever become something, but you get enough attention, you get enough people that like it, and Shiba has real potential because so many newbies in the space
Mhm.
have it. Talk to any one of your cousins or friends that was a no coiner a year ago that now has some crypto. They're going to tell you they have Bitcoin, maybe Ethereum, Doge, and Shiba, right? So those people are going to be recommending Shiba to all the next generation of people coming in, which will be everybody else. All those new people are going to probably be buying Shiba and Doge. So I think they're good. I actually have neither of them, to be honest, um, but I always recommend them. Like if people want to know what should I buy, from what I understand, the principles of branding, which is becoming more important, and Shiba and Doge will probably do very well. And anything else with a recognizable brand. That's kind of, I think, how Luna did really well. Is that it had sort of a recognizable, understandable brand, and it grabbed the attention of the newbies. So of course that crashed. That crashed and burned. But
Oh yeah.
Shiba doesn't rely on some weird technology that never
Mhm.
made sense to exist. It's not. It doesn't even have its own blockchain. There's no reason Shiba will ever fail at this point. People will
So
start creating and I want to create use cases for Shiba just to capture all those users so they have something to
yeah,
do with it. You know?
that makes it attractive to build
Yeah.
stuff for it. Um, well, going to siege rolls, let me know what's going on with it. If you can give a overview of it. Um,
So we just
so
released
much cool stuff on that.
3.0.1, and Jake told me all about it, and um and I wasn't able to get to work on my laptop, so I got it to work on my gaming computer at home, and it has a lot of new mechanics and new stuff going on with it. And I played it, and I hated it. I mean, it was so hard. I'm 53 years old. Like, I'm not one of these kids that runs around. I just felt so abused and bullied by these monsters. You wake up on this beach basically, and all you got is this pistol, and you all these huge monsters, and they're like 10 feet tall. They're all coming at you from everywhere, and they chase you around, and they just kick the crap out of you. And I played again and again. It was too hard to like get new stuff, and then I talked to Jake, and he's been playing it for a while. It doesn't seem that hard to him. And we have a professional gamer on our team named Luis in the Philippines, and he actually wins the game by himself. And I would have said nobody could ever win this. Like, it's that impossible, because I was really surprised that he can win it, and he can do it with like a shotgun. You know what I mean? He doesn't even need one of the best weapons. I of course have all the best weapons in it now, because I was like, Jake, you need to give me something better. So give me all the best stuff, and so he gave them to me as an admin, and told me that he made me an admin and gave me the cheat codes. I still get my butt kicked, but now it's actually fun once you have the good stuff. But seeing that, I knew what to do. So I basically wrote out pages and pages of spreadsheets of how to make it fun. It needs to be fun for people who are playing it for the first time. They don't know what's
Mhm.
going on. They don't have any good weapons, and also fun for the people who are really good. So basically, it has to start out a little easier. You need to find more stuff early on, so you're getting those sort of this award mechanism in your brain of getting something, of winning. So we're making the enemies easier to kill in the beginning, but towards the end of the game, they'll just keep getting harder and harder and harder and harder until it's really hard at the beginning or at the end, right? To make it hard. So, and we just have one wave right now. So we're going to make many, many of these waves. We actually have a 4-person version that you can pay $1 in divvy. So get 3 friends, 4 people total. You each pay 1 divvy. You do it with a Divvy Go wallet, and it's really amazing. I mean, we're going to be onboarding so many people in the Divvy with this, because the way it works is you download the game, you get in there, and it says, okay, let's connect your Divvy wallet. You just put in your phone number of WhatsApp. You get a link in WhatsApp instantly. You click the link, and now you got a wallet. You've got all the cryptos right there. And if you win, you could just, your Divvy is just there. It's in your WhatsApp. It can be in your Telegram and Signal, as we add those as well. It's really cool. And we're going to have NFTs. So you have a whole NFT process where the NFTs are inside your WhatsApp wallet, which just exists by chatting with a bot. And you don't have to download anything. It's just there. It's there all the time. And so the what we're going to be doing is, so I was saying about the four people. So with 4 friends, you pay $1 worth of divvy each. If you're able to win the game, you're going to get $200 worth of divvy. I put a $200 prize for whoever can do it first. So what we'll be doing over time is testing this and having different waves. We'll have, the red wave or the devil wave or the undead wave with different monsters, and we'll have different conditions. Like with the undead wave, it will be at night, where you can't see anything. It'll be really dark, and you have to light these fires so you can kind of see what's going on. So we're going to try different things and offer different prizes for whoever can beat them. So, and then the next generation, we're going to allow users to do that. So people that like the game will be able to basically, we have a whole thing where we have a spreadsheet where you can basically code a spreadsheet to say, you have basically sub waves that last such, you say the timing of them, which enemies, how powerful they are, what color they are. You can change some things, and then you can basically offer a prize. If you can beat this wave, you're going to get $500 worth of divvy, and so people can make their own waves. Then we'll have leaderboards for the waves themselves, like which wave has been played the most, which one has the biggest prize, which one has the most people that upvoted it. Sort of gamify it in different ways and allow people to make their own waves. Eventually, that goes into being able to do a lot more than just use our monsters and color them. You'll be able to make your own monsters with different waves. So we'll have it like a monster maker that allows you to change the size of their limbs, or upload textures for them, or change their face by uploading different things that you can make in Blender or free modeling things. And so I believe that's the future of games. And we saw, like I said, that's what happens with games that allow you to make stuff that are super sticky, because people want to create, and you figure out where to go with your own company. It's really hard to figure out what your clients really want to do with your stuff. If you give your clients the ability to make stuff for other clients, then you learn, because they're doing all this process of trial and error, and they try crazy ideas that nobody think might work, and they turn out to be really fun for some reason, and then you do more of that, right? So we want to have Divi as part of all of this, and we already have Divi embedded in that. So the next version we will have, we just released another version that had a bunch of changes. It makes it a little bit easier. But we're going to keep doing it. Every 2 weeks or so, there'll be a new version. We'll be adding new monsters, new waves, new stuff. And we're going to have a whole forging system where you can basically, we're going to be dropping a lot more weapons and a lot more stuff, a lot more ingredients, all kinds of stuff you can't even use right now that you'll be able to use in the future. And everything will be stackable. You're not going to have to worry about your inventory. You can just hold as much as you want. And so, for example, if you get a pistol, you keep finding pistols because they're easy to find. But if you get 4 of them, you can now forge them into a level 2 pistol. It'll shoot a little farther. It'll shoot a little faster. It does a little bit more damage. When you get to level 3, it'll shoot 2 bullets at once. And so everything is going to be gamified in that way, where you can keep leveling up and up and up. It makes it worthwhile to save everything and to try to get everything, because right now, like, if there's too many, you don't want to pick up a pistol because you already have one. Why do you need another one? Well, we're giving you a reason to. The idea is then when you get to a level 4 pistol, which means you found 16 of them, you're going to be able to name it. You're going to be able to describe it. You're going to be able to mint it into an NFT. You can change the color. You can upload a texture, so you can make it look like the way you want it to. You can put some crazy texture on there, and then you can sell it. So one of the ideas is you want to be able to you want to award people for grinding. People that play a lot, accumulating all this stuff, they can then forge these weapons and sell them to players that want to just sort of jump ahead. And then what we do is we
Like
have,
you, like you did.
yeah, exactly. And
Okay.
gamification really works. People just love it, you know. So
Yeah,
we're basically,
that's an amazing idea. That really is.
I don't know why other games aren't doing it, but it's something that is going to be really obvious, and everyone will copy it. I worry about even saying it because, you know, um, somebody probably there's probably some video game designer right now listening to this going, that's a really good idea, I'm gonna add that to my game. And then they have more funding, so they get to release it first, because that's what happened with Divi, right? I don't know if you remember early on in the ICO, a lot of our best ideas were stolen and done before we could, just because we were trying to do a whole bunch of really cool things and they just did one cool thing, you know. So, and of course that didn't work. Everything works, you know, it's a whole you have to think in terms of an ecosystem, not just
Hmm.
one thing. But it made
Can you give
us
just the
nervous.
basic overall, kind of what the game is from start to the goal?
Okay, well, so you know, whenever I don't know if you loved the Lord of the Rings movies as much as I did,
Hmm.
um, but I was like, God, it would be so cool if there was a game like Lord of the Rings. And there were two mechanisms I remember, two or three. Yeah, there was probably like three game mechanisms that always happened in these movies that I wanted to make happen in a video game. They were these were the three. One of them was I wanted to have like large mobs of creatures where you can have a bunch of friends that try to fight them off in a siege type of situation. That's what it's called, siege worlds. So if you remember, each of these movies has this big siege where they're facing off against a horde. And you want to be able to fight off this horde. And the idea was um, the gaming space is shaped like a wedge. You start out on the beach where it's widest, but as more monsters come, you kind of fall back. And you have this in the game world, there's these series of forts and walls, and you can get into these forts, and then there are these big doors, and the monsters are going to bash their way through. They're going to burrow under, they're going to climb over with their ladders, just like in Lord of the Rings. And you have to find ways to keep this to repel this horde. And so we have different uh, gamification mechanisms to encourage people to work together. So if you, for example, if you can, the closer you stay together, you get more points. You get better defense automatically. So we want people to think of strategies of how to work together rather than just all being lone wolves running around and shooting stuff. The other mechanism that you always have is all these things. There's always like this hopeless feeling, right? The hordes are too big. They're bashing down the last wall. We're all gonna die. What do you do? Well, somewhere, somehow, there's this side plot, right? The hero or a group of heroes have to run off in the middle of all this and go solve some problem and bring back the weapon, or they have to open up, you know, the floods, you know, from the they have to break the dam, or they have to release the kraken, you know, or they do something, right? They get some sort of super weapon, or something happens, right? And so the idea is that with all these different waves, we'll have these different mechanisms where people will be able to, the idea was you have, ultimately we want it where 20 people play at once, and they will send like a squad of people to do certain things depending on what they're facing. They will be like, oh, you know, we know that there's this certain mechanism where if you go into this bank, there's a vault, and if you open up the vault, you can get a pair of rocket launchers, and that's going to be enough to kill this dragon. And
Hmm.
without these things, it's really hard, you know. You don't want to force. What I don't like is forcing people to have to do something, but you basically this makes it easier, you know. And so then people have to discover how to do this, and it becomes part of the lore of the game. It's like, oh, okay, well, in order to get into the vault, you have to have this key code. So first you have to go and get it from underwater and here and do this. And so the idea is that in the game, you kind of can plan out these strategies, and you know you have a certain amount of minutes to win it. So you have to figure out which of these 20 players you want to go as this sort of solution squad that's going to go get this thing that will help you beat the wave, right? Um, so I wanted to have that kind of mechanism. The other mechanism I wanted to have was I loved how Legolas would climb up on top of the monsters and like climb them, and get up on
Mm.
top and then kill them from the top. And I was like, oh, we need to have a that in the game. And so all the big monsters and all the waves have some really big ones. They're being built with handholds like on their legs. So you literally will be able to, in VR, run up to these monsters as they're going past, and climb up using your arms in VR and climb up the top, get up on top, and then there'll be, if it's a dinosaur monster or something, it might have like a weak spot between two of its plates where you can see, and then you can just literally in VR, you're going to be standing there, like an idiot in your office, doing this with your arrow, and then try to shoot an arrow like Legolas would do in between these plates, right? So then, meanwhile, you have the mechanism of all these other enemies that are trying to shoot you off the back of this creature, and so your friends, so we'll have mechanisms so your friends, you kind of have to plan this out, like who's going to get up on top of this thing,
Mm-hmm.
and if you get shot while you're up there, then you fall off, and so and this will be happening in VR, right? So and I am so
What kind of
convinced
what hardware are you gonna
amazing, right?
utilize?
What?
What hardware is the VR going to be?
But we're going to do everything for Oculus, I think, because Oculus just has sort of the easiest, most popular system right now, and because we also have products, we have the DiviGo working in WhatsApp, which is a Facebook. I refuse to call it Meta, by the way, Facebook product,
Mm.
and so it's just sort of easier right now. I mean, I love what Vive is doing as well, but I just happen to have an Oculus, and they've made it so easy with their Oculus 2, and it works great,
Yeah, I bought my
and
nephew one for Christmas, so I had to make sure it's Oculus.
yeah, and the other thing is that as much as people hate Zuckerberg, he is an absolute nutcase when it comes to VR. There's nobody better prepared. I mean, he's putting his whole team apparently thinks that he's a crazy, that he's so focused on metaverse, and he probably is. It's way too early for metaverse to really become the big thing, for them to be spending as much money as they should be. But he doesn't have a majority share over 51%, but he has a majority of the control, and he can
Mm.
do what he wants, and he is. He's spending
And they do have the
hundreds of
money.
billions of dollars on this.
Yeah,
So I think that gives an advantage. Vive, nobody can really compete with what he's doing because he has the money to do it. So I think it's just better to be there and for doing this. And of course, well, if you make something work in Oculus, it'll work in Vive without too much work
I remember you
and other
told me
things.
that you'd be able to go into other people's games to help them. And is that still a thing?
Well, that's one of the ideas with NFTs is to be. Well, first of all, let me go back to like NFTs in general. Gamers generally hate them because they see them as a. Most gamers, if you ask them that don't know much about NFTs, believe they were invented by the gaming companies to find ways to force them to spend more and more money. Because if you think about it, these big gaming companies, they're just like the DCs and the Warner Brothers that don't really care about the comics. These guys don't care about their customers. What they care about is making money. They care about quarterly statements in these really big gaming companies. And so they see NFTs as a way, and they're correct, that they can basically create an economy for stuff within their game that will make them more and more money as people compulsively spend more and more money. I mean, it's already happening in Worlds of Warcraft and all this, right? People spend huge amounts of money, they mine for this stuff,
Yeah.
monetize that, and get a percentage of that by having 10% of every transaction, like it does with NFTs. So gamers are saying what their position is that none of this makes the game more fun. All it does is make them spend more money and makes it what they call pay to win, not play to earn, pay to win. Whoever has the most money now becomes the best player and becomes the guy that can control the universe or whatever because they have the best stuff and they can get the people with the best stuff, which is the way the world really is, but people are trying to escape from that. So in order to get around that, you have to think about how do you use NFTs in a way that actually make them better for players, so that they can actually be more fun. And so what we're working on is mechanisms for making it where the players can create the NFTs by grinding, and they can sell them, and yeah, we'll get a percentage,
Mhm.
but not all of our waves will require them. So we'll have contests and stuff that don't require the NFTs. In fact, they don't give you any bonuses, right? But we have other ones where people do want to spend the money and they do want to try to get the best stuff. The same way like people that play Magic the Gathering will spend the money to get the right cards so they can put it together so they can win tournaments where you can use the best cards, right? That's fun. And that's fun for certain types of people. Not everybody wants to do that. So we want to have both. Um, and but you want to have it mainly be player driven, where they're making the NFTs. We're not minting them and selling them to everybody.
Well, when I was working for Xbox, there's so many people that would spend so much. You have no idea how much money people would spend
Mhm.
on in-game
Oh,
stuff.
I have
Um,
an idea. I just
People,
I
I
keep
remember like
I
people would
spent a lot
call
of
in.
money on Pokemon when it came out. The
Well, people
Pokemon Go.
people would call in and be like, "Hey, I need to buy this for NBA 2K, and I can't spend any money." It's like, "Yeah, we froze your account because you spent $2,000 in the
Yeah,
past 48 hours." And then like, "Well, I need you to take it off. I got to buy this guy. I got to buy this shirt." And I'm like, "It's automated. We can't turn it off. It just puts a freeze on it for 24 hours."
yeah,
Um, and this guy's like, "No, please let me spend more money." And the thing was, whenever you spend in-game stuff, that's it. It's gone.
exactly. Well, that's
You
so
need
that's
it,
what
you grind it, you get past it, and then it's worthless. And in
that's
NFT, I was like, imagine you could sell that to somebody
right.
who wants that so bad. It gives players so much more power over their own stuff and over their own money.
That's yeah, exactly. So if somebody is a gambling addict and become addicted to your game, which will happen, and believe me, we're making our game as addicting as we possibly can. We're not shying away from making it addicting because that's fun. It's fun. If it's addicting, it's fun, right? You're stimulating a lot of the pleasure centers of the brain by making it fun, and it's sticky, and it's I know I'm not supposed to say fun and sticky, right? So,
Yeah,
but but it's
not with Superman.
we're doing that. But when you're buying an NFT, you can sell it again if it's done right, because the value is there, because the value is created by the economy and not by the company, right? And the character and the players are getting to do that. They're getting to design cool stuff. People will be making their own brands of stuff, and they'll be buying crappy pistols, forging them up to being really cool pistols, and then they'll be putting their own brands, and they can trademark that, and selling that, and people will want it because it's the cool thing to have, especially the more we can give people control of what they're making, the more compelling it'll be, and the more people I think will like to do it. If they can add different attachments, or they can design certain parts of the game of the pistol, like we can maybe tell them the barrel length or the barrel thickness, so people can do kind of weird stuff, or this kind of stuff. There's a lot of ways to sort of make this possible. So getting back to your original question, one of the best uses of NFTs is that people, no matter what you do, people eventually will get tired of the game unless you're constantly adding something truly new to that game, which we've never really seen happen. I mean, maybe World of Warcraft is coming up with new things, but for the most part, even game they eventually stop making new stuff. They move on to the new game because they want to sell more of it. And it's all about driving money. It's not about long-term player happiness. It's usually about they want to release a new game because they know they can get 10 million people to give them $60 and they pre-sell it, So that's what their focus is. Their focus is on making money. It's not about creating long-term worlds, And so with NFTs, you could make it so that these characters you create, these items you create, all the stuff you create can be portable to other games in your universe, or other games that other people, partners, sort of respect the metadata of your items. And so one of the things that you will see happening is there will be consortiums of different play to earn games, metaverses, that create a standard for what weapons would look like. Um, and it's interesting with the NFTs, right? That the blockchain doesn't have the data for that, what that gun actually looks like. It'll have a bunch of metadata. That metadata can be interpreted by different games. So that metadata for a gun may look like it's made out of a bunch of rectangles in somebody's Minecraft server that they've created to do this. That same NFT could look like a super high quality, realistic Unreal 5 model in that kind of game, right? And what the damage it does and stuff like that can be interpreted. That metadata can be interpreted. So coming up with standards for all this, what +5 means, in one game, +5 might not be a lot, but in another one, maybe it does. So trying to come up with some sort of standards and having a standard board for that is going to be very interesting because in some ways this is a type of centralization that is against web the principles of Web3, where everything is just sort of chaos, right? So I think that what we will see over time is different consortiums that do this, but the value has to be there for the players. For me, what I want to do is create, a compelling game that becomes a metaverse that we're always adding new stuff to it. There's always going to be new enemies. There's going to be new challenges. There's going to be upgrades. And instead of creating a new game, you're creating new stuff for people to do in your game. And so people never have to leave. They can, if they get tired of the character, they can change its hairstyle, or they can rename it, or they can make it wear different stuff, or they can play the game differently. They play it as they start going down the thief track instead of the warrior track. And so they don't need to go to another game. And we don't need them to buy our next game because we make our money through NFT resales. It's from a player generated economy. That's really the way NFT gaming should work in the future,
Is
and it's good.
is there
It's
any
good
other
for
way
everyone.
for playing to earn?
Well,
Because you,
so
I mean, you told me so much about it in the idea stages. It was like so many. You get so much for kills, and I don't know what you've kept and what you haven't.
so yeah. So with play to earn, there's different. Like anything else. There's a lot of ways to do it. So one way to do it is, you play a game. Here's a good example of what we're looking at. A game lasts 15 minutes. You pay $1. 10% of that goes into the prize pool that's there. 10% of it goes to whoever created the wave. 20% of it goes to the company, and 60% of it goes back to the players by killing monsters, right? So if you're really good, and you kill a lot of monsters, then you'll get back more than you put in. And if you're not very good, well, you're getting less. You're not killing as much stuff, but you're having fun and you're getting better. So, as you get better and better, you can do better and better waves. So that's one way to do it, where it's sort of like it's not gambling because it's a game of skill, but you're basically paying money.
Hmm.
What the reason that play to earn games took off was because Axie basically found out. I don't know if they knew this, maybe they guessed it, but they found out that if they could create sort of a Ponzi-nomics situation where people could earn their coin by, and they had enough players coming in, so people wanted that coin because there was a use case in the game, then you could just play the game and you're getting free money. You don't have to pay anything. They made it though that you had to buy, an Axies, and then you can start breeding them and you can create more characters. And it's kind of like Pokemon, right? Then you battle them against each other. You can breed them. You can do all this stuff. It's very ingenious, all the mechanisms that they created, but it didn't really work long term because it was the Ponzi-nomics were not enough balance. So as it got really big, they just couldn't find enough more players. And then of course the crypto winter came, and they had the giant hack that lost $600 million in the bridge attack, and all this stuff has happened. And now there's what they discovered was that there was hundreds of thousands of people in the Philippines and developing countries that it's very difficult to get a job. A lot of these places have 20%, 30% unemployment. If you do get a job, like I met somebody in the Philippines, she worked all night in a call center for $400 a month. That's what she made, $400 a month, and she had to commute there at like 10 at night, and then worked from like 11 to 7, or 11 till 8 or something like this. And she would try to come home and sleep, and in the middle of the day with noise and with her family. I mean, that is brutal. And you're talking about $400 a month, right? Now, that's not that much money. You're talking about people that spend $2,000 playing Xbox. If you can find a way to transfer money from the developing world to people that are willing to grind in a video game, then you've got something that's really going to be appealing to people in the developing world, because people can come, they can go to school and they can come home and they can play a bunch of this game into the night. If they can make $200, then that's enough to basically barely live on, or subsidize whatever they have, or as a second
And
job.
that makes a difference in people's lives as to whether or not you have to send your kids to work or they can go to school, or and then they can come home and play a video game, or they have to go sell stuff to tourists. It's a big deal. GameFi really really did a lot.
Yeah, so play to earn gaming and metaverse, people that are designing these things need to be thinking about how do you create a mechanism where people who have time and don't have jobs, but they have computers, or they have a phone that they can play a game on, they have mobile games, can turn their free time into money. Even if it's only a dollar an hour is enough, or $2 an hour is enough. But you need to find a mechanism that they're somehow producing something of value for people in the developing world that have a lot of money, that are willing to play, that are willing to spend $200 or $300 a month. Like one mechanism I was thinking of, is like in siege worlds, you could be like a siege. If you're like a leader, you could actually pay people to be your vassals and to be like hired guns to help you beat this wave, right? So you could go out and hire these people from the Philippines or Colombia or wherever people are really good. And I mentioned that because we have two professional gamers on our team. One's from Colombia, one's from one's from Manila in the Philippines, and they're really good. I mean, they're phenomenally good, right? If you could hire them to play on your team.
Are you going to have like a reputation system or something for that?
Well, yeah, I mean, you always want to do leaderboards in all different types of ways, right? So, but if you can basically find a way where people can work for you as a professional gamer because they're on your team, because if you put together a really good team, you can win money, one way or another, either through play to earn, or through grinding, or through accumulating stuff that you can ingredients to make stuff with, to sell to other people, or you just are having people accumulating stuff so you can make clothing that people sell in the game. People will pay for that because they want to have cool clothing for their character to wear. You create if you create the right mechanisms, people will turn their time. They're sitting there playing games anyway. Why not play your game? If they can make some money from it, they're gonna play that instead of Minecraft. And if it's also fun, and they have a gamified thing, and they can see that if they do better and better and better, they can earn more and more. So, you try to create these mechanisms, and the metaverse is going to be like that too. People
Are,
think
are you
that
going to have a VR headset to play it, or can
no,
you play it just like this?
no. The way I anticipate it is that probably some people will do VR. Like if you love VR, like I do, like I want to be the guy climbing up on top of like Legolas, and I want to do that because there's a VR game called The Climb, which if you haven't ever played it, it is so fun. And and you're just doing this, right? Just climbing up, but it's so much more fun than you would ever imagine. It's so addicting, because an incredible mechanic the way they have it worked out, and you end up
There's a VR game
sweating and tired.
there's a
What?
VR game called, I think, The Office, and I came in. My son, he was in a cubicle and typing, and he was so excited. He's like, "Look, I can drink this coffee, and I can move this paper." I was like, "Dude,
Oh my God,
that's
that's the thing
ridiculous."
is kids like to do anything they see their parents doing. They think it's fun.
I was like, "That's." I don't believe that's a real game.
Yeah, there's
How
there's
long have you
there's
been playing this? Like
There's
an
one I
hour.
saw my yeah, there's one I saw my daughter playing in VR. She had so much fun playing it, and you're basically like work at a McDonald's and you just make burgers.
Yeah,
and you do like this, you pick up the burger, you put it on the bun, and you have these angry, and it's actually really fun because you've got these people that are like pounding on the table because they want the stuff. So you got to get all the stuff and put the burger together, then put it on the tray, and then you send it over here, and then it goes to them. And it's actually fun. Like that's the thing about VR is these game mechanics you never imagined would be fun are actually much more fun than you would imagine. And so
could be the future of
VR is
McDonald's
fun for that
training.
reason. What?
Could be
Yeah.
the future of McDonald's training. Yeah.
It's so funny. My daughter is an incredibly good digital artist, and I offered her this summer to work for me doing video game character design, which is literally what she wants to do with her life. But she turned me down because she wanted to sell snow cones. She said, "Dad, I want to get a real job." And so she ended up not getting the snow cone job. She's working in a bakery and she loves it. She's like, and I was like, oh, this is great. She's going to learn. Like, she never wants to do this so she can, but she decided, no, I love my job. She actually loves working in the bakery. I don't know what she does there, but it's yeah, she wanted to have like that kind of sort of just regular job, rather than doing that.
Mhm.
I think next year I'm going to say no. If you're going to be serious about being a video game designer, do it for real. You don't
Yeah.
have to. You don't have to be a graduate of an art school or a video game design school. She's good enough; she can be doing it right now. So,
So what's the time frame on Siege Worlds?
well, it's released now. You go to Siege Worlds with an S, siegeworlds.com, and you can download it. It's only on PC. There's no NFTs in it yet, but it is fun. People like it, and you can definitely see the potential. We have a pretty small team. We have like 3 people full time. We have a bunch of other people that help from time to time. Another 3, 4, 5 people, designers doing different things. This doesn't include me. It's just the full time people. So we have 2 full time developers and a full time graphics designer, and then a few other designers that make models and do rigging and stuff like this. So what we're planning on doing for that is making a new game, basically forking Siege Worlds, doing another game, and selling some NFTs to raise money for that, so we can add some more people. And it's from time to time we have students that come in and they help us. In the UK, the government like pays sometimes. They'll actually pay us to hire somebody and pay their salary, because people have a hard time getting that first job,
Mhm.
right? So it gives them some experience. So we've had some people come in and help with that too, but it's hard, like with anything else, you're always looking for the really good people, because
Yeah.
sometimes what I discovered a long time ago is that free labor is very expensive. If you've got somebody that's not very good, takes more of your time to manage them than you're getting with the benefit.
Yeah.
You're redoing their work, or you're explaining stuff to them, and so you're always looking for the people that are the top 5% minimum. And with everybody doing that, it can be pretty hard to put together a team. Luckily, my partner is a video game professor, and he has all of the contacts, all of the universities. So we're going to be over time getting more and more of like the best students, um, basically setting up some programs to get students before they're on the job market.
And everything's connected to Divi.
Everything's connected to Divi. We'll probably have, once it gets big enough, we may create our own coin, but it's too small right now. It's much more important to create a more use cases for Divi than it is for us to try to create, say, a Siege Worlds coin, that's only used for Siege Worlds. It won't have any value. Like, I know how these things work. You just you can't do that. If once you need to have like 100,000 people, right, before you can consider doing something like that. And then you really have to show like what you're going to do, and then you have to do it in such a way that it's not a security, which is another problem. So all these are challenges, and to do things right, to make something not a security, you're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can't just start making a coin. Actually, you can in Europe if you don't care about having Americans in your ecosystem, which, as Americans we do, because that's our people, that's our friends, a lot of our influencers, people like it you can do it a lot easier. But Americans we're so held back by the laws in this country. I'm
Yeah,
praying that
it's very.
the
It's
government changes all that.
all those regulations. As far as onboarding goes, how do you have to have Divi to play? Can you use like a debit card or?
No, it's all free right now. I mean, we still consider it to be alpha, pre-alpha, because we don't have all the
Okay.
ways we want. We don't have the VR part. It doesn't even work on Mac right now. It's just PC only. We had it
How,
working in mobile for a
how is that
while.
going to
We've
work?
had a Mac version. What?
How is that going to work as far as like just onboarding and playing? Are you going to be have to go get Divi to play? Or are you going to be able to
No. Well,
get
so
some Divi there?
that's the thing, is that you're going to be able to. We're adding Divi to Simplex, so you'll be able to just, for people that have never played our game before, if they want some Divi, it's going to be the easiest thing. All they got to do is download the game, put in their phone number, click the link, type in their username, and now they've got a wallet. Then they can just type in to the bot. They just type in buy Divi, buy 500 Divi, buy $20 worth of Divi. You can literally write in English, right? And then it will put you through the Simplex system. So you're buying the Divi. They have a little bit of KYC, and it's all just done with their APIs. And then you're going to buy Divi. It'll be right there, and then you can play with it.
That
It
is
is like
awesome.
so easy. It's just like this. Nobody's ever had anything like this before. So it's going to make it divvy so accessible. And what we'll do is we'll be giving everybody a little bit of free divvy and getting it in their wallet, so they'll be seeing the reminders, because it's pool staking. So it's staking constantly, staking every day. They're getting a little alert that they're getting free divvy. Eventually, people take interest, and of course, we'll constantly be telling them, by the way, you're getting 18% interest or whatever on this, and making it really easy for them to move other coins or dollars or euros or whatever into getting more divvy, so they're getting the staking rewards. But right now, you don't need divvy to play the game. So we'll make it like a faucet. So if you're playing, people are going to be getting free divvy. So I'm just going to put I have allocated $100,000 worth of divvy or more to this to just give away. I would love to have if I get 100,000 people in, which is kind of what we're expecting, I'll give them all a dollar's worth of divvy. So we get 100,000 new divvy owners, way more than we have now,
That
right?
is awesome.
So
Well, I'm going to leave links to everything in the description. This is going to be broke up into 2 different interviews, one about the Siege Worlds and one about the comics, because it's so long.
yeah,
But it was good hanging out, man. I'm going to have Nick on, because if we talked about Divvy, that'd be another 45 minutes probably. So I'll have Nick on too. It was great hanging out with you, man. You guys check out Siege Worlds, check out the comics. Remember, it's probably next month, but don't tell anybody.
yeah.
It's a secret.
I just want to say it's really important that if you're interested at all, just come into our Discord. Come in now. Try to get on our whitelist. We have a whitelist for the free one. It's going to be worth $100 at least, right? So, come and try to get a free one. There's 777 of that, and then there's going to be 777 of the Genesis ones. So, come and consider trying to get that. You have to get on the whitelist. You may have to jump through some hoops to do it. Tagging a few friends or whatever we tell you have to do. But you guys, if you're listening to this, you're watching this, you are very, very early. We just opened this up, so you're only the very first people are going to be able to get this stuff. So you're in a lucky position. So consider taking a little bit of risk, or at least go in and find out more.
I hate Discord, but I will go over there to do this.
Oh, I know it's really I like Telegram better, but
Yeah, me too.
I've learned to love Discord. It has
Discord to me, it's like like one of those old strip malls that you think it's closed, but there's like 1 or 2 stores in it. That if you need like a frame,
Yeah,
frame stores there or something.
yeah.
Yeah. There's like homeless people that live in the empty shop. It's a scary place,
That's
but
really funny.
sometimes
That is a very suitable analogy. Well, what we're working on is making our, we have a lot of people that are like on staff that are in our Discord 24/7 around the clock in many languages, that are being trained as greeters to interact with people. And the most popular channel right now is anime. It's like boom, 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 boom. Every day we have trivia. We give away divvy in a trivia contest. It's usually like Star Wars trivia, anime trivia, manga trivia. It's all kinds of stuff. But that anime channel, it's really lively. So it's you can see what people are passionate about by just creating these channels and see what people want to talk about.
yeah.
So
All right. As always, man, it was great hanging out with you. You guys remember to leave a comment so you're registered to win some crypto. Smash the like button, as always. Should have said all that in the beginning, but all right. You guys take care, and I'll see y'all in the next video.
bye. Thank you.